Yeah, the cops just walked in.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Should we? Yeah, that I was looking at my notes and I was like,
did somebody swat you?
Yep, somebody swatted us.
Did
Someone
they really?
swatted us?
Yep, somebody swatted us. So that's
How do you know?
what that
How do you
was.
know?
I have somebody texting me.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so Tim's gonna
wow.
take care of
so,
business.
yeah, just a police officer
stroll
entered
it in.
here, looked around because it looks like someone swatted this live broadcast here.
Glad they didn't come in here bussing, man.
I'm
Yeah.
glad, yeah.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Tim Pool being swatted live on air by local authorities due to a bogus call about somebody being murdered and a potential active shooter, all this, that, and the third. My friend Brandon Tatum was also in the building as a guest during the podcast. Now, first things first, I don't have video of the actual incident, okay? So if you want to find that here, if you came to this video looking for the video of the incident, I don't have it. I don't know where it is, so I can't help you with that. All I can talk about is what Tim Pool said right after the incident happened, and then what he said a little bit later, probably the next day. Now, as I said from the very beginning, I've been here before. Back in August of 2019, I got swatted. It was not fun. Luckily, we're all right. We're okay, but I'll talk about that particular incident a little bit later. Let's talk about the swatting incident with Tim Pool. Now, as I said, they were recording the podcast live. Brandon Tatum was there, all the co-hosts and I guess employees or whatever, they were there talking live on air. And all of a sudden, they get swatted. Somebody called talking about active shooter, dead bodies or whatever. And the police came in to see what's going on. Now, if you don't understand the concept of swatting, basically, it's kind of a prank call, but not really a prank, because if you get caught doing something like that, calling a false report of dead bodies and kidnapping, things of that nature, you can go to the penitentiary because it's very dangerous. Because what if the SWAT team, they kick your door down, coming in guns blazing, shoot you, you making the wrong move and you die or you get injured, somebody's going to the penitentiary. Even just for the call, if nobody gets injured, you're going to the joint if somebody gets caught, okay? So this is a very serious thing, and it could be potentially very dangerous. Luckily, nobody was hurt here. The SWAT team did come, but I think they only had like 2 officers coming in there with flashlights, okay? Tim Pool said there was like 6 vehicles outside. So I suppose that the officers went there and it was really a threat, because like when they pulled up, when the officers pulled up, they were seeing guys outside kind of just like casually talking, and it was kind of an office space. It was like, okay, this probably is not what they're saying. Send the 2 guys in, just do a sweep, to do a check. Everything's all good. There's no need for the whole squad to come in, kicking the door down, yelling, get on the ground. They don't got to do all that if they know the coast is clear. It's a swatting incident and they're recording the podcast, okay? So they're very professional, did their job very well, utmost respect from what Tim Pool said, and I believe him, because most officers, 99.9%, are going to be like that. They're going to be respectful, do their job well, treat you with respect. There's no need for all this extra aggression when you're not in a dangerous situation, right? So that's pretty much what that was. I'm not sure if the incident got caught live on camera, but that's the whole point. That's why they do stuff like that. These so-called quote-unquote prank callers, really criminal callers, when they do stuff like that, they're trying to see it happen live on camera so they get that satisfaction, and also to try and scare you, do things of that nature. Now, I think Tim Pool was a little bit upset because he said the officers had no right to come into his place of business because they have mats all around that says get a warrant. But when you're talking about something like that, I mean, the process of getting a warrant is like you got to go to a judge and present evidence. You would get a warrant for like a drug house, right? You've been doing surveillance and you see there's a lot of activity going in and out, and you want to raid the drug house, you got to get a warrant to raid it, right? This was not that. There were exigent circumstances. And an example of it would be if I see flames shooting from your house and I break the door down to rescue people inside. Okay, I don't need a warrant to go into your crib. That might be kind of an extreme example, But you get the point. If someone calls and says, hey, there's 13 people tied up in the basement, they all got shot, it's an active shooter, they're trying to burn a neighbor's house down, they threatening me. If they say all that, then you got to go over there and do something. You can't just be like, oh, no, that ain't nothing. You don't get a warrant first. You don't get the judge, call them out of bed, bring them to the chamber, get the warrant signed, and then go into the house that way. That's not how that works at all, okay? And if that was the case, then there'd be plenty of cases where people would be on the brink of death that could not be saved because you had to get a warrant first. You see what I'm saying? Exigent circumstances. That was the case right here. And Tatum said it live on the show. He was like, yeah, they got to do something. They can't just do nothing. They got to do something, right? But as I was saying, they're all okay. Everybody's good. Tatum's good. Tim Pool, the whole squad, everybody's good. There was no violence. There was no fuss. There was no muss. But this is a really troubling thing. Now, the question would be, who swatted Tim Pool? I don't know. I have no idea. All I could do is just guess and give my personal opinion. This is all my opinion, nothing else. It's not a statement of fact. This is not saying he did it, she did it, they did it, Zim did it. I don't know. I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. Now, it could be somebody that has been there before, because the thing about it is, I'm not sure that Tim Pool has a public address. See, back when I had got swatted, I had kind of a public address, and I didn't understand how to really go about fixing that. And I think he probably does, but if you already been to that spot, you know their address. You see what I'm saying? He probably has a P.O. box that's not his actual office on his website or somewhere. And if he has a website, the who is does not have his address in it. It probably has a random address or who is cloak on it, so you can't see where he actually lives. And he might not actually live in that space. It might just be the place where he shoots the content. Even if he does live there, he probably goes through steps to make sure that his address is secure. But if somebody's already been there, then they could say, oh, well, this is where he stays. You know what I'm saying? Or put it to you like this. There could be a degree of separation. Somebody could know someone that's been there and they can ask them for a different reason and then tell somebody else before you know it, that the information is in the wrong hands. That could be the case. Somebody could have followed them from somewhere. It could be anything. It could be an Amazon driver. I'm not saying they would do that, but there could be there's a lot of different ways someone could find where you live or find where your place of business is. And that's that. Now, somebody said something about Jack Murphy. I'm not really sure that would be the case because I don't think he was negative toward Jack Murphy. Maybe somebody did that because he had Jack Murphy on there and they don't like Jack Murphy. So that's why they did that. And if you don't know who Jack Murphy is, do not Google. Do not Google because you're going to need to have some type of, anti-nausea medication. So be warned. Don't Google him. If you do, it's at your own risk. But I digress. The point is that somebody could have doxed him because they have already been there or they have known someone that's already been there. Anything could happen. I just don't know. Now, back to my situation, back to my personal swatting incident. Now, this is back in 2019 in August. And I was at home. They went to my house. I was recording ABO live. I'm recording. It's a good show. I'm rocking and rolling. Everything's clicking. Had a nice little bit of viewers in the building. More than normal, actually. It was quite a few people in there for that particular time. So everything's going good. And then I hear some noises in the background, like outside, because where I lived before, I had where my office was, it was like right in the front of the house, but upstairs. It's kind of hard to describe, but basically, if my neighbors are loud or whatever out on their porch, I can hear them because the porch is like I can see them from the top of where I'm at. If that makes any sense. I can look down and see them in front of their porch, basically. So I'm hearing them first. And I heard the police, like, get on the ground. I'm like, man, somebody got arrested. Somebody got messed up. And then I didn't hear anything else. And I got to thinking, it's like, wait a minute. Could they be trying to find me? Am I getting swatted? And then, well, before the neighbor's noise, my phone rang and then it rang once and then it didn't ring again. randomly, like right when the show started. And then I heard the neighbors, and then the police came to the back door. You know, my wife, she went out there and was like, hey, the police are right there. So I'm like, okay, I already know what it is now. So open the door. The police are outside. It's like 6 of them, and they got guns drawn. They say, get on the ground. They're real calm. We're professional. Shout out to you guys for being professional, calm, cool, collected. They did everything right. We did everything right. They did everything right. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's a lesson right there as I continue in a minute. That's a lesson. If you do everything right, if you follow the rules, you are more likely to not have any kind of problems. If you want to do all kind of crazy stuff and go beyond the Call of Duty and just be weird, then things get kind of hairy and you may end up costing yourself your life. So don't do that. So they said, get on the ground. We complied. We have like a little deck type area outside, small little deck, not really a deck, but just like a way to get from the ground floor up to the back door because they came through the back. So they went through the house and nothing was there. And they came back very apologetic. And my man that was in charge that night, he gave me his number. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. They let me know how to keep updated with the case. I can't talk on that part right there as far as my particular case and legal stuff. But they were very nice. Everybody was really cool. But they said a similar story talking about somebody got tied up and somebody was bleeding and stuff like that. But it was all good. It was fine. But these things can end very badly. One guy got murdered on a swatting incident by the police, unfortunately. And the guy that did it got caught and sent to the penitentiary. Okay. And like I said from the beginning, if you do something like that, even if nobody dies or gets injured, you still can go to the penitentiary. And you don't want to have that happen. And you don't want to have anybody get hurt. So don't try me a prankster or nothing like that, because you could lose your life, your freedom, as well as the other person on the other end. And is that really a prank? A prank is sending 1,000 pieces to somebody's house and making them pay for it. That's a prank. A prank is not, oh, we're going to send the police. Ha, ha, ha. Not funny at all. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Tim Pool, Brendan Tatum, the whole squad over there for being all right. Everything was cool. They did everything the right way. Shout out to the police for doing what they had to do in a logical way. They didn't send all 6 vehicles full of officers into the place. You send 2 guys in. You know it's the office space. You got guys outside probably smoking vape with cameras. You already know what time it is. It's a swatting situation. But you got to go in there to make sure that everything's okay, because you don't want to assume that everything's all right and you bypass a grisly murder scene, right? Go in there, sweep, do your job, send a report, apologize to everybody in there for inconveniencing them, and go about your day. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this whole situation? Who do you think did this swatting? Was somebody that they know, somebody that they don't know? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at. These can be very scary, but I'm glad everybody was all right. And as I was saying, this is a lesson. Just do right. Do your job as a citizen when you are with the police, when you have an encounter, and they do their job. If y'all both do your job right, then things 99.9999 times out of 100, they go perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Rarely does anything go wrong when both parties are on the same page and they do the right thing for each other and for themselves. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.